Hello, everyone. It is me again, Shahad1571, mediocre cartographer and #1 Fallout New Vegas fan. Today, by popular demand of no one, I am going to teach you the intricacies of QGIS and the how-tos of this seemingly intimidating machine. From setting up the assets to georeferencing other maps, learning from this video will allow you to create original and thought-provoking works, such as, What if China collapsed? 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 What if China collapsed?
China's growing power on full display.
China's latest effort to expand what is already the world's largest navy.
What is happening is most of us are now reliant on not just their basic ingredients being made.
The Chinese are put out with these multiple warheads that fly in their own different directions. The Pentagon doesn't even know how they work.
Or what if Russia collapsed? That is cool too, I guess. So, pick up your pencil and ready up those notes, because I am teaching you how to. Everyone and their moms would probably have heard a thing or two about QGIS, but to those who are wondering, what is a QGIS? Well, QGIS is... But to keep things simple, it is a tool to make maps. That's right, like Prometheus, you too can steal the power of professional map makers for your ends. Want to make a map detailing the interstates across America? You can do that. Need a map of Eurasia but can't find it in David Rumsey? QGIS has you covered. Want to reference your big Germany map with another big Germany map that's also based on another big Germany map? Sure, why not? So yes, if you have a problem that neither David Rumsey nor Google can solve, QGIS has got you covered. Anyway, with that out of the way, here's how to. Number 1, setting the scene. Again. Okay, let's assume we want to make something original. Maybe this map is set in Europe, Central Europe, and it's based around a really important country known for its industrious culture, La Fourier, and failed empire building. Poland. Great, we know which country we're gonna deal with. Now we just need to download all the references and resources for QGIS. The first place we're stopping by is David Rumsey, Google, or anywhere you can get your references. Download as many maps as you need, preferably the ones with radicals, more on that later. The second place we need to go is QGIS.com. Downloading it is pretty simple. First, you head here, then you click this, and then you click either two, although I recommend the long-term version instead. It costs like a single gig, so it'll last for a couple of minutes or 24 hours, depending on where you're living. After downloading the installer, the last place we'll be stopping by is natureearth.com. This is where you get your basic assets for QGIS. From simple markers to entire hillshades, this web zone has it all. Even better, you can download all of them in a single package. Head to Downloads, and you're offered a fair amount of data. Here, you're presented with many options to download any single file you want. But, since we're downloading them in unison, the process is pretty simple. Just go to one of these tabs first and select this link to download them all. After downloading it, extract them all in whatever manner you wish, either placing them all under a single folder or a bunch of them. Alright, we got everything we need. Now, it's time to head to the next step. Number 2, laying the shields. Assuming you have installed QGIS properly, the only thing you need to do now is to, well, use it. Go turn on your QGIS. After opening it, the first thing you will see is this menu. You will be greeted with a little fanfare, from recent rejects to templates, and even news on a few occasions. Then, you will need to make a project, the canvas of your map. To make one, move your cursor to Project and select New. After that, QGIS will show you an empty space and a bunch of features. From add inclusions to opening a console, based on Python, the number of options might confuse some, but don't worry, the only thing that matters, for now, is this, the layer panel. If you use Inkscape or Illustrator, then you're probably familiar with it. If not, well, this is the panel where we will place your assets, or in QGIS's context, shapes. And if you wanna put something like, for example, a land, it's pretty simple. Just drag the specific file from your folder to the layer panel. Or to make things easier, use this browser menu to have quick access to your assets. You have to make sure that it's a shapefile or SHP on its end. Here, I have placed the entire land. Yes, you can modify the design by clicking right. Opening Properties, and opening up Symbology. Here, I will choose the basic scheme QGIS provides. If you want, you can dabble over the menus and such, but this will do at the moment. The map looks too simple, so let's add more to spice the map up. Maybe add some lakes. And a few rivers here and there. We could also add some cities too. Cities and other assets such as roads and borders belong to the culture, so get used to the difference between the two. And there you go. Anyway, let's go add some countries. Pick up the shape from the culture file and drag it to the layer. From here, you see the asset has a fill, the pink color you see here, but you need to remove it because we only need to see the borders, so open up its properties and click on what's called simple fills. From here, you can modify the asset in full detail, so take your time designing it, but for the sake of only showing the borders, changing the fill to no brush is enough. But wait, we have another problem. The cities look weird, and they don't have names yet. Don't worry, just click on its properties and click on the labels table. On this header, you want to change it to single labels, which will show the names of all cities. You can do this with almost all assets, from rivers to lakes, and from countries to even roads. After that, I recommend heading to Symbology to make each marker less generic. Do as you please on how it should look. And we might be showing off too many cities, so let's drop the numbers down. To do that, move the cursor to the population layer, click right, and open the filter menu. From the filter or query field, you can write a variety of expressions, like only showing American highways or showing Polish cities. But for now, reducing the number of cities will do. To do so, you need to type down the following code. Here, you're commanding the map to only show cities with numbers equal to or more than that value. After that, make sure you test it out and click Apply. Okay, that's everything. At least the basics of QGIS. Admittedly, the map looks kinda shallow to export it. So, the next step will be showcasing some of the more interesting features of QGIS has to offer. Number 3, dropping the goods. Okay, at this point, I have pretty much taught you the basics. I taught you how to make a project. I taught you how to drag and drop assets. And I taught how to code a bit. Now it's time to teach the more interesting features. First, drag a graphical from the physical files. Pick whichever interval suits you. Adding them fleshes out your map, but it seems rather flat. Thus, the part we need to change here is right now, we need to change its current Miller cylindrical projection to a dynamic orthographic one that focuses on the area between Germany and Poland. So, head to Project menu. Select Properties. And open up CRS. From here, you're given a variety of selections, ranging from simple Mercators to more local varieties. Unfortunately, such a projection seems too broad, so you have to create one your own. Thus, close down the menu. Head to Settings. And click Open Custom Projections. This is the place where you code down a specific projection and coordinates. Since it's empty, we have to make a new one. So head to this green plus button here, type down the name of your projection, and change well-known text to projection string, and type down the following syntax. Here, you're declaring that you want an orthographic projection set on coordinates between Germany and Poland. If you're wondering where I got such coordinates, I use Google Maps and click right on somewhere to show the longitudes and latitudes. After the projection is considered valid, head down to Properties from the Settings menu again, open up QGIS, and find the projection you have written. I recommend using the search function to filter the list down to your written piece. Finally, click Apply on your projection, and there you go. As you can see, your map went from a flat Miller projection to a more global orthographic shape. Since we are only going to focus on a single region and with no intent to export the whole sphere, zoom back to Central Europe. Well, that's it for projections. We made the map more dynamic than it was. The result of this is a more dynamic looking map. This helps to give the piece a sense of regional place, and it allows us to... Assuming you have prepared your historical maps, the next feature here will be about georeference. As the name suggests, this is a function that frames your, well, references to the map project. This is a useful feature if you need a map reference without painstakingly editing it, which usually leads to mixed results. To use the feature, head up to the Layer menu and open Georeferencer. The first course of action is to open a raster, and from here, you need to open one of the references you have downloaded. Mine is conveniently closed, so I'm going to pick this map of Poland right here. After opening the map, it will be displayed on the Georeferencer, and from here, you need to pinpoint every detail on the map to generate accurate results. You can start from anywhere. Maybe you want to pinpoint the cities first. The mouth of a river, or even a recognizable land body. As long as you add enough points, the results will be mostly accurate. However, the easiest way to georeference them is to use the graticals, you know, the ones I had mentioned before. Since the graticals in the project don't align with the reference here, I'm going to add the gratical shape with the narrowest interval. Much better. From here, you will pinpoint every intersection of longitudes and latitudes until you leave no gaps left. Take your time and make sure all the points you make correspond to the project. Okay, I have marked out every single one of them. Let's generate the map. It seems I haven't tuned the output settings yet, but don't worry, this warning will direct you to the settings. This menu gives you options on how it will be generated, but the only menus you must check on are the transformation type and target CRS. Leave the former as projection, but make sure the CRS is the same as the projection of your project, otherwise it will make the output distorted. After tweaking things, you can finally generate the map. The reference is mostly accurate, but it's misaligned due to some mistakes we made. Thus, head back to Georeferencer. Delete the wrong pinpoint, and replace it with an accurate one. And there you go, an accurate reference you can use. Since then, I added more maps to provide more reference. From Germany to another map of Poland, you can add as much as you please, as long as you understand where you're referencing them. With a projection set and references planted, the last feature you can do in QGIS is... Some might wonder about the 3D topography seen in some maps and atlases, and these are called hillshades. If you spend enough time on naturalearth.com, you will see the option to download raster files containing these landforms. Thus, after downloading one of them, drag one of the hillshades to the layer. There you go. The version I used here is a raster hillshade from the medium scale data tab. Some, like the ones on the large scale data, are more detailed, but I recommend using them on more focused maps. You can also modify the rendering of the hillshades here. but mostly I modify it to ensure they don't have visual glitches up close by changing the options on resampling to linear and oversampling to 5. Well, that covers everything. Now that we're done with adding the essentials, we move on to the final step of this tutorial. Number 4, tying loose ends. Alright, there were a couple of changes since the last sequence. I renamed the assets to make them easier to manage, duplicated shapes such as countries to create a coastline, and adjusted some of their properties to make them decent in Inkscape. If you're done spending time on QGIS, the next step is to export the map. To do that, head to the Projects menu and select New Print Layout. From here, you're given the opportunity to design how the print should look. It even has its own layer feature, so the function is rather familiar. The first thing I'm doing here is modifying the size of the canvas, which I can do by double-clicking here. Next stop, I'm going to render the project to the canvas with this tool, Add Maps. As you can see, it is a rendering of the observable map we have in the project, thus if I show something from here, it will update it rendering to match it. There you go. Aside from Add Maps, another two important features are Select/Move Item, which allows you to resize the framing, and Move Item Content, which allows you to move and scale the rendering itself. Another simple feature is adding a scale R. This is to show the scale of the map, and it's modifiable in item properties. After setting everything accordingly, you can finally export them. There are 3 choices to export: as PDF, as image, and as SVG. Since we're exporting this Inkscape, the latter is the most obvious choice. And after choosing where to save, you're given the menu to export the map in whatever means you wish, but for this one, I only set the labels to text to avoid the busy work in Inkscape. And we're done. Since we have exported the map, the final step is to open it and see how it looks. You can open it with whatever graphic software as long as it's compatible with SVG. So far, the layers are organized, albeit with some quirks. Thus, I'm going to change some things here and there. After some fine-tuning and reorganizing, I have managed to make it usable enough for us to start the design aspect of mapmaking. Well, that covers it all. I have taught about QGIS and how to use it. The other half of the mapmaking process lies in how you would use the export. Some use its assets to simplify the design process, while others use it to provide some reference to draw over. Regardless, QGIS is an excellent tool for those who want to make maps, so hopefully I helped you out on the basics, allowing you to make better looking maps. Or you know, this tutorial stinks, and you're preparing the tomatoes as I speak. Anyway, goodbye, folks.
Thank you everyone for staying this long. Hopefully this video tutorial can help you guys out with QGIS. This video was pretty overdue since September, so better than late than never, I guess. Yeah, okay. That's pretty much it. That's all I had to say. Well, I have some video plans for the year, basically. One is an alternate history piece I had in mind, and the other one is about New Vegas. Don't worry, I'm not going to shit on it. I'm just going to talk about Caesar. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Goodbye, everyone.